USC President Carol Folt talks about vaccination plans for the fall semester and calls to action in her State of the University address.
A professor in the Marshall School faces sexual assault allegations. Former students shared their thoughts about the case.
And a historic night at the Oscars. We'll hear from cinema students about what this means for them and the movie industry.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
President Carol Folt filled in the USC community about plans for sustainability, diversity and inclusion, and more. Good evening, I'm Carolyn Casero reporting from Los Angeles.
And I'm Lauren Hebroni, also reporting from Los Angeles. Folt also says that vaccines will be required for students returning to USC in the fall.
Requirement. And we're about to send out a memo tomorrow, and what we're going to say is that it is our intent to require vaccinations. We can't require them until they've passed the emergency rules, and we have to make sure that people have access to them. We're doing all that, but it is our intent to make them required. And of course, we will have exceptions, and we'll make good explanations for that for people that have medical or religious reasons that would make it not possible for them to do it.
President Folt recapped how 50,000 people have been vaccinated for COVID-19, introduced a community advisory board for DPS, and detailed how USC is partnering with LA Mayor Eric Garcetti's sustainability plan.
A former USC Marshall student has filed a lawsuit claiming a USC professor sexually harassed her. Despite these allegations, he is still teaching. The plaintiff's attorney says that race plays a big part in this case.
One component of this case that's really important to keep in mind is the racial targeting. Professor Park is a Korean man. He knows the cultural norms. He knows the difficulties that are going to be presented for a young Korean student to come forward and speak out against him. And he really took advantage of that. And it wasn't until after the plaintiff graduated, was able to get away from USC, was able to start her healing process through going to therapy, that she was finally able to come forward. The fact that USC's kept Professor Park on staff, despite multiple women coming forward with their allegations of sexual abuse and assault against him, it sends the message that this type of abuse is okay, it's acceptable. And that's an extremely dangerous message to send, not only to the broader community, but to victims, because that encourages silencing. It encourages keeping the abuse to yourself rather than coming forward, because why would you come forward if it's not going to create change?
The suit also alleges Marshall professor C.W. Park sexually harassed 3 other women. Despite these claims, 2 of Professor Park's former students spoke in his defense. Ms. Chung says the case is not something she can even imagine, and that while she was working with Professor Park, quote, he never once used any sexually infringed language or conducted himself in a sexually harassing manner. A second female USC graduate, Ms. Ammer, defends Park, saying, quote, I have never once felt that Professor Park's intentions toward me or any of my student colleagues was anything short of appropriate. It really saddens my heart that someone as kind-hearted, harmless, and selfless could be accused of such an improbable act. The university responded to our request for comment on the case saying, quote, the university has a comprehensive process for reviewing reports of sexual assault and providing supportive measures to involved parties through our Office for Equity, Equal Opportunity, and Title IX.
The Office of the Provost announced the appointment today of a new dean of the USC School of Dramatic Arts. Dr. Emily Roxworthy is currently an associate dean at UCSD. She founded Workshop Interactive Theater, which promotes institutional change and diversity training. She will join USC on July 1st.
The 2020 census results are in and show the population trends for the U.S. and each state. Here in California, the population went down, causing a major political shift for the first time in history. 2020 census data shows 331 million people in the U.S. Based on population, California now loses 1 seat in the House of Representatives, while Texas gains 2 House seats. By the end of September, each of the states will be sent redistricting counts to assist in redrawing legislative districts.
President Biden is the first U.S. president to call the massacre of Armenians during World War I a genocide. I'm Kimmy Arabar reporting from Los Angeles. The president released a statement on Saturday, Armenian Remembrance Day, saying that American people honor all those Armenians who perished in the genocide that began 106 years ago today. The Prime Minister of Armenia showed his appreciation through a tweet, saying it's an important day for Armenians and that the U.S. has once again showed its unwavering commitment to human rights. One Armenian student activist gave her view.
Biden's recognition seriously means a lot for the Armenian community living in the United States, but it also means a lot for people living all over the world. It's very important that this was recognized because for the countries that haven't recognized the Armenian genocide yet, hopefully President Biden recognizing this can be the first step for other countries to start recognizing it, just because the United States is such an important figure in this world.
Turkey was quick to condemn President Biden's statement. One Turkish diplomat is saying they entirely reject this statement based solely on populism. But the associate director of USC's Institute of Armenian Studies says it's possible for the US to still have a relationship with Turkey.
I think what Biden's recognition and relations with Turkey sort of show is that you can, in fact, do two things at the same time. You don't have to choose one over the other. You can, in fact, have respect for human rights and acknowledge tragedies, and at the same time conduct trade and other types of relations. So it shows a commitment to nuanced relations. And yes, there might be a strain and other difficulties, but Biden showed that this aspect was more important in the relationship than another aspect.
Many now say President Biden is setting precedent for human rights around the world.
And the Oscar goes to Nomadland.
The 2021 Academy Awards was a show to remember. Not only was the virtual format unprecedented and lengthy, it made history with a more diverse group of winners than ever before.
I'm very lucky I have parents have always told me that who you are is enough. You know, and who you are is your art, you know. So I always try to stay true to myself.
Nomadland took home awards for Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Picture. Chloe Zhao's award made her the first woman of color to win an Academy Award for directing. In a dramatic ending, it was Anthony Hopkins who was named Best Actor for his performance in The Father. Many viewers expected the late Chadwick Boseman to take home the title after he was nominated posthumously and honored throughout the night.
It's so awesome to see all these different voices and diverse voices coming out and getting a ton of money for these productions.
And I don't know that this one win will change the Oscars, like will bring around really swift change, but I do think that it's like an important step on the road to making it a more inclusive institution.
Hopkins won the Oscar for Best Actor back in 1992 for his performance in Silence of the Lambs. Fans were shocked not only with the recipient of the award, but with how abruptly the show ended after its announcement.
Forget the freshman 15. The COVID-15 is the new norm. Gaining 15 pounds can lead to obesity among many other health issues. Gaining this much weight can also trigger major body image anxiety. Journalism professor Lisa Pico-Hebert raises awareness on these issues.
We compare ourselves to, as I said, celebrities, to people that we don't know. But most of the comparison comes from friends, from peers. If everyone realizes that actually no one is perfect, that these people aren't necessarily perfect, even though their selfies may purport to be perfect, then we'll all be a little bit healthier.
For a healthier mindset, focus on your positive traits. Try not to have negative thoughts and just talk to someone when you feel stressed. Body positivity and joy can help battle any negative body image.
Welcome to Gone Viral, our new segment where we highlight USC students making it big on social media.
This week, we're joined by Bree Seberg, a junior communication major. Let's check out one of her TikToks. Wow, Bree, that was so fun. I'm wondering, what made you interested in posting tutorials for your followers?
Yeah, thank you so much. So basically, I always have been on TikTok. I wanted to create a specific niche that a lot of people could really relate to and kind of learn how to make better TikTok videos.
I'm curious, what was your first viral video? Do you remember?
Yeah, so my first viral video was actually a video of my mom, and it was basically her kind of doing a first impression video of different TikTokers, especially the boy TikTokers. So it was really interesting. She didn't want to rate them on a scale from 1 to 10 because she thought that wouldn't be very nice. So instead she did first impressions, and you could hear my voice in the background. It was super comedic. We were kind of bantering back and forth, and she kind of has the same energy and comedic voice as me, I guess. So we kind of were just going back and forth, and that was my first viral video. Got millions of views, and people were I love your mom, and I also love your comments on the side and stuff. So yeah, that was my first viral video.
Is there any exciting tutorials or content that we should look out for in the future on your account?
Yeah, so basically I do a lot of different collaborations and brand partnerships with brands. And recently I've been working with Prime Student for Amazon, basically creating content for them and posting on my TikTok different videos for college students, whether that's an unboxing haul of different items that, I use in my dorm room or apartment, or just showcasing the benefits of Prime Students. So that's something that you guys can definitely look out for in the future.
I know Caroline and I are definitely looking forward to it. That's it for this week's Gone Viral. Bree, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to catch up with some of USC's content creators. USC alum Tyler Schiffman travels the world documenting nature and promoting nature conservation. Schiffman's work has been featured in the New York Times and the Atlantic.
The key to science, yes, is doing the science, but there's a huge aspect of communication that always gets lost. There's so many amazing research, that gets published worldwide that you and I may not ever read or ever hear about. So if I can make the smallest of change, not even changing a mind, just raising awareness of a conservation effort, or making a change to a government, or it doesn't even get published. I just make a presentation, go to a government and say, hey, I would really love to protect this animal.
Tyler's upcoming documentary, The Urchin Diver, follows the story of Connor Rhodes, whose way of living is threatened by the collapse of the kelp forest in California.
What is up, everyone? For our final Monday show of the semester, I'm Rachel Grove reporting from Los Angeles. USC Athletics has partnered with Keck School of Medicine to enhance healthcare provided for USC athletes. The partnership will launch in July of 2021 and give student athletes access to world-class healthcare provided by Keck for all sports medicine needs. The program will be overseen by Dr. Sarah Van Orman and newly appointed Director of Athletic Medicine, Seth Gamrat. I spoke with Van Orman about how this transition will improve healthcare quality for athletes.
Whenever our athlete receives care, whether that's in the training room, at student health, or over at our Keck Medical Center, that care is coordinated. The records are all organized and integrated, and that there's the oversight of all of our physicians and our clinical leaders to make sure that each athlete is receiving the highest quality of care.
Athletic Director Mike Bones said that this is part of the department's goal to become the most student-athlete-centered program in the country. For more sports news, let's head over to Bianca Bueno.
Hello, sports fans. Top-ranked USC women's water polo will now head to the postseason with their first loss after being undefeated. They fell to the Bruins in their regular season finale in a tough LA Crosstown showdown Sunday.
After defeating the Bruins 5-3 the day prior, the Trojans lost 13-6 to UCLA and was unable to produce the goals they needed to catch up. Going scoreless in the third, now at 17-1, they will head into the MPSF tournament as the top seed. In football news, redshirt senior defensive lineman Caleb Tremblay tweeted that he will be entering the transfer portal for his final season of eligibility. During his time at SC, he played in 18 games and recorded 21 tackles. The loss of Tremblay further weakens the Trojans' depth on the defensive line.
It was a pleasure to report all things USC sports. See you next fall, and now let's go back to news.
Finding work during the pandemic has been especially difficult for performing artists. According to the National Endowment for the Arts, dancers have it the worst, with a jobless rate of 55%. Reporter Lillian Gonzalez introduces us to an accomplished dancer who's managed to pirouette through the pandemic and so far land on their feet.
Norbert de la Cruz has had a successful career in dance. The Juilliard graduate was named one of Dance Magazine's top 25 to watch. The world's largest nonprofit ballet competition awarded him this year's Outstanding Choreographer. COVID changed everything.
Artists especially are struggling to make financial ends meet.
He taught contemporary dance classes over Zoom.
I would suggest a suggestion of $5 if they're able and willing, but again, it's no pressure.
USC Kaufman student Zachary Torres says teaching dance over Zoom is one way dancers have been able to make money from their craft.
A lot of dancer income does come from teaching too, because that is where a lot of the money is.
But for De La Cruz, donations were not enough to pay the rent. Unemployment checks helped.
It's a shame that the unemployment payment was much higher than some of the freelance payment that we were getting as freelancers in New York.
De La Cruz left New York and headed west.
Started renting out studio space here in LA and then conducting my own Zoom classes. And thankfully through social media and Instagram, and I was able to get a good amount of people to attend these donation-based classes.
Dancers have not only faced financial hardships, but have been forced to practice at home in cramped spaces like this. Now that the world is slowly reopening, dancers can't wait to get out of the kitchen and back on stage. In Los Angeles for Annenberg Media, I'm Lily Gonzalez.
You know, Caroline, I totally relate to that. I'm actually a dancer myself and was doing the same thing at the start of the pandemic.
That's so awesome, Lauren. I'm glad to see that you and other dancers aren't letting their passions go to waste during this crazy time. I'm sure it's been very stressful, but seems like it's a really great thing to do and kind of give back to the dance community in a way.
Absolutely.
That's it for Annenberg TV News. Thanks so much for watching.
From everyone at Annenberg Media, have a great night.